Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Traders Summit. It's about COVID, stimulus, and the U.S. elections. And we're going to start off with a special edition of FACE. There's mine. Hi, Blake.
Hey, Dale. I was about ready to put on my mask, but I decided against it. So,
well, you know what, Blake? I thought about it. Let's see. You're in another state.
yes.
And our partners are in Greece. And
Correct.
Joe's on the East Coast, so we have social distancing going on for this.
I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. You and I have about 400 miles apart from each other.
All right. So I'm really excited about the lineup that the team has put together. We've been putting on FACE. We're going to have a little bit of a special edition to give you an understanding of what we've been doing every morning, where Blake and I get up before the roosters and have a free webinar to serve the community and talk about what's happening in the markets. The whole team gets involved. There's an interview almost every day since FACE has been on the air 3.5 years. I believe Steve told me last April I was up to about 750 interviews. So between now and then, plus FX Street, I would say I've interviewed over 1,000 traders, analysts, educators, the best of breed on the globe. And our mission every day in FACE is to build up and edify traders. And we lay it all out there on the court for you because we're on your side. We're here to support you. We root for you. And it's important for us because we're like you, for you guys to make it, avoid the mistakes that we have made. And I'm very satisfied with the work that we've done over the last 3.5 years. This is an expansion of what FACE started out to be, because we've built a network of excellent analysts and traders. And why not have a huge event and compress it into a few days so that with what's happening in our world right now, it's not a joke that I had a mask on. It's not a joke what's happening here. We have crossed a different paradigm. And my hope for everyone listening or even viewing the recording later, that there's one idea, that you get one idea that could be life-changing for you, that could help improve your trading style, that if you're having difficulties, that a new paradigm develops for you from this. And I welcome everyone here. Thank you for your attention. We're going to make it worth your while, I promise. Blake, how are you today, partner?
I'm doing great, Dale. I'm super excited about what we're doing here with Traders Summit and the conference. Like you had mentioned, this is a special edition of FACE. And for those of you that don't and are not aware, we do a daily broadcast every single day for free. We broadcast and we talk about the markets and what's moving. And it's not just myself and it's not just Dale. You can see we have actually our two other target employees that are here. I'm joking, guys. You're wearing red shirts, and if you wear a red shirt, if you guys have khakis on, you would be Target employees.
What aisle do I find the euro on,
right?
Aisle 1.
These guys are from Athens, Greece, and our team actually is great because it spans all over the globe. We have Paulie in San Antonio, Texas. We have Joe in New York, New Jersey. We've got Andre in Portugal. We've got Grega, who's in Slovenia, or Croatia, wherever. And there's Joe. We have Amanda in London. We have Leandro, who's in Spain. We have Jane, who's in Spain. Belu, who's in, where is Belu at? Hungary? No.
Finland.
Finland. totally messing with you, Baloo. Anyway, we have a great group of traders and guys and gals that work on everything that happens behind the scenes to make it happen every single day. And we offer analysis in the markets, and it's not just currencies. I know ForexAnalytix, who I'm one of the co-founders of ForexAnalytix, but we don't just cover currencies because there's a lot of things that move the currency market. We cover precious metals and what's happening in the bond market and fixed income and what's happening in the S&Ps. And what I've if I look prior to ForexAnalytix, I was the chief currency strategist at MB Trading, which eventually became went to Ally Financial. And prior to that, through other iterations and other companies, before that, we used to do a webinar called the Morning Edge, and I had so many traders that weren't currency traders, but we do it early in the morning before the market opens, and so a lot of people could get a good feeling of what the market was going to do throughout the course of the day based on what we were seeing in the futures market, what we were seeing in currencies, because as most of you know, the currency markets really can influence what's going to happen the rest of the day. And we take a macro perspective of the market, technical perspective of the market, and put it all together. And that's what really created ForexAnalytix. Now, I do want to take a little bit of time to kind of give you a flavor of what my view of the markets might be, and getting opinions from other people on the team that you can see here, like with Steve and Stelios and Dale, and maybe even Joe if he wanted to throw in something. But the point is, I want to show you kind of the process that we go through every day. And just remember, it's free. You can tune in anytime you want, and we'd love to have you there. I will show you ForexAnalytix. We are a co-sponsor and organizer of the Traders Summit. It's the only time you're really going to hear about ForexAnalytix. We'll be here in a little bit. I just want to show you what it does, and you guys can take advantage of, obviously, if you want to. And I want to tell you a little bit about Trader Summit and where it's going and how it's going to be evolving in the future. And we do have other partners that are helping us develop the Trader Summit, which many of you know, Forest Park FX, and you've worked with them. They're a wonderful, wonderful group of guys, which you'll hear from a little bit later, because they are also co-hosting this event with us. They've been great at helping our traders find the right broker. It's interesting, guys. I've been trading the markets for over 20 years. My trading style has actually changed over the last few years because, for those of you that don't know, I traded for a firm as well. And so my size of the way that I trade now is more institutional. So my style of trading has actually changed a little bit over the years. And what you'll find as a trader or as an investor in the markets is you will evolve, and you will change. I was more of you could call me like more of a retail trader, even though I was, chief currency strategist for so many years. I traded my own money, and so I would trade relatively. I mean, if you think about it, more of an everyday person, everyday investor's size in the market, and I could afford to be a little bit more loose in the way that I approach the markets from a risk reward standpoint. But now that I trade bigger size, I tend to be a little bit more focused on the minutia and the little moves of the markets. And as you evolve as a trader, that's going to happen. And finding the right broker to complement what you're doing is super important. And that's why Forest Park FX has been a wonderful partner of ours over the last, how many years, guys? Probably like 4 or 5 years. And
Yep.
And they've really helped our traders, move along in a positive fashion, always being there to support them. and tackling any issues they might have with their specific broker they're working with. So there's a lot that I do want to speak about today. But before I show you, kind of Forex Analytix, the charts, kind of show you how I approach the market, how our team approaches the market every day. Are there any comments that you guys would like to make before I get started?
Well, I'll tell you something, Blake. I have a testimonial. I've become a much better trader being part of the team in the last 3.5 years. I can't even list all the things I've learned from listening to Steve every morning, and you, and going over the research that we get from the team, Greg and Andre, and people that remember me from, say, 5-6 years ago, where I was much more inconsistent, a lot less disciplined, and I teach, surround yourself with traders better than you. And so I lived it being part of this team over the last 3.5 years.
And Dale, I can appreciate that. One thing I want to say about Dale, I first met you on Twitter probably about 8 to 10 years ago, somewhere in that neighborhood. And we've been very fortunate to have you become part of this team, because you interview so many great traders. There's a gentleman that's going to be a speaker. I forget what day, Saturday or Sunday, Jack Schwager, the great Jack Schwager, by the way. As I mentioned on Twitter, if you guys follow me on Twitter, I mentioned that he was one of the original Market Wizards book was one of the first books that I ever read. And whenever I'm struggling in the markets, I kind of take a step back, which, we all do in the markets. You have ups and downs, and you have good times and bad times. And when I'm struggling to make sense of the markets, a lot of times I'll sit back and I'll read Market Wizards, which happens to be behind me up on a shelf. But the reason why I read that book is because even though it was written, and it was all the interviews were back in the late 80s, early 90s. I think it was published in 89, if I'm not mistaken.
It's timeless.
I'm sorry?
It's timeless.
It is timeless, because the emotions that the traders go through are the same emotions and issues psychologically that you will experience today. Obviously, the times have changed, but we all still psychologically, we still deal with the same things. But the reason why I'm pointing this out is because Dale is an encyclopedia of knowledge. He's interviewed so many people over the years, and he interviewed me probably
on FX Street.
Yeah, on FX Street 4 or 5 years, 6 years ago. I don't know how long ago, several times. But you've interviewed so many people over the years, and he's such a book of knowledge. And that's what makes it extremely valuable when we're going through our analysis. And he's like, Blake, I just had so-and-so on that was talking about, the growth of money supply and how it might affect the currency market in this way. And then we'll talk about that specific topic as we're going through the analysis process every single day. So I think it's great that you're with us, Dale. So
it's intelligence gathering.
Yep,
they do it in the government, they do it in the military. As traders, I think it's very valuable to do intelligence gathering.
100%, and we're glad that you do that for our community. Steve, Stelios, anything you guys want to mention before I take over the screen and plug away at some charts? Excuse me.
No, we just we're just here as participants mostly. We want to wish everybody an enjoyable event. I'm pretty sure they will they will enjoy all three types of things we produce here, which is interviews, presentations, and of course the big debate that we have tomorrow. I'm looking forward to all of it, actually.
yeah, and it's great. The debate tomorrow is going to be absolutely epic, so I'm excited about that.
Yes, it's going to have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, Stelios.
No, I'm also very happy to be here, and in fact, I just saw on the chat there's somebody from university I haven't spoken to in 28 years. So it's it's enjoyable, and I hope everybody enjoys it, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, guys, without further ado, I'm going to take it over to the charts, and I'm going to I'm going to, let me go ahead and share my screen really quick. I got to take this opportunity to mention our sponsors, because this is going to be, this is a free event, obviously, for you guys for the next several days. And it only happens because of our sponsors. So you can see I'm actually on the screen here. And I want to take a little bit of time just to talk about them. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom to talk about them. One of our main sponsor here is Pepperstone Securities. Pepperstone Securities, we have developed a relationship with them over the last 6 months or so, and we're going to be working with them hand in hand, Forex Analytix, I should say, producing content. We've got Spanish webinars that are going to be hitting the market for the Latin America community. We're all very excited about the future between Pepperstone Securities and Forex Analytix specifically. So make sure you visit them. And if you want to learn how to potentially get Forex Analytix for free for a period of time, depending on how much live trading you do, make sure that you visit when you're on Forex Analytix. There's our Forex Analytix sponsored page where you can learn about how you can get Forex Analytix, possibly, like I said, for free for a period of time. So make sure you check that out. And you have to be outside of the United States or Canada to take advantage of that particular offer, which we have a lot of European and Asian traders, some in the Pacific Rim. And so just check it out and see if it applies to you. But we have many other sponsors, and I urge you to please take this opportunity sometime over the next 3 days and visit them and see what they're all about. Because like I said, without them, we couldn't offer this event to you guys. So I wanted to make sure I did a little bit of housekeeping regarding our sponsors, because they are extremely valuable to the Trader Summit organization and what we do. All right, so let's talk about the markets really quick, and then I'm gonna go a little bit into Forex Analytix to kind of explain why I developed Forex Analytix with my partners here. But I want to explain to you guys that every day, I'm a trader, and I do carry positions, sometimes for a couple of days, sometimes for a couple of weeks, depends on the situation. Like right now, I happen to be running a long dollar Canadian trade because it's an inverted head and shoulder pattern. For those of you that are Forex Analytix subscribers, you're very much aware of this. It's been on my radar for the last month because we broke this, this downward sloping channel, and we started developing this inverted head and shoulders pattern. Excuse me. And when it broke out and broke the neckline above 132.30, that's basically when I started to get a little bit more aggressive. And the reason why I'm showing you this particular chart is because the currency market can tell or maybe complement from a correlation standpoint what is happening in the market in equities as well. And if you trade equities, you probably, and you watch our daily face webinar, that I've been leaning on the equity markets a little bit over the last couple of weeks. Technically, I think it was on everybody's radar that we had this megaphone pattern. I was looking at this AB equals CD pattern a couple different ways. We reached the 127% extension of this, post-COVID sell-off. And so it was really important as we were trading up at 3,600 that I started to see the market show a little bit of a reversal here. And the reason why I felt strongly that we were going to see a little bit of a reversal was not because exactly what I was seeing here, but it was more as a response to what currencies were doing. When you start to see the dollar, we can talk about the dollar index as well. You see the dollar index as a whole, or you see some of these major currencies like the dollar Canadian start to give you a bottoming or topping in some cases like the euro, some sort of reversal pattern, we know that the dollar is strengthening. And why is it strengthening? Well, when you live in a world, which we all do right now, where all central banks are basically at ZIRP, all the major central banks and most and some and NERP for negative interest rates in some cases, but you have a situation where every major economy is bringing their interest rates to zero. It's hard to get the currency market to move because what's going to move the currency market when you have everything at zero? Well, the reason why the dollar may start to percolate is because it is used as a risk-off proxy, and when there's no, meaning that it is the reserve currency of choice. So when people feel that the stock market has maybe gone up enough for a lot of different reasons, which actually I'm on the next interview with Daniel DiMartino Booth, I'll be talking about maybe some of the reasons why the Fed has done what it's done and maybe the consequences of that. But more importantly, once the dollar started to show some signs of life, we knew that, or at least we're confident that the equity markets might start to show some topping patterns. Now, obviously, there's a lot more to it than just that, and those are things that we cover on a daily basis. But one of the things that I love to do on a daily basis is I love to go through a process, and I go through each. You can see this this what we call the bias chart. The bias chart is basically all the major currency pairs. You can see gold in the S&P. Do analysis on that as well. And we try to find out where the major key levels based on, I'm a simpleton kind of guy. I look at basic technical analysis. For those people that have listened to me for the last 15 years, that my analysis doesn't change. I look at the same stuff now than I did, 10, 12, 15 years ago. Obviously, it's sprinkled in with a lot of cross-market analysis. We take in what's happening in the macro environment to help come to some sort of conclusion of how we feel about the currency markets. But I go through these charts every single morning with our entire group. So anybody that's listening into the FACE webinar intraday, you're going to get the analysis of all of these major currency pairs, plus the indices, plus the S&P. And a lot of people ask me, well, Blake, why do you do that? And why don't you just do it for yourself? And because I trade for a firm, why don't you just do it like that? One of the benefits, and Dale, the answer to this question if you're still there. Are you still listening in? Or maybe Steve or Stelios?
I'm here, mate.
Okay.
I am.
So why do you think I like to go through this analysis process every single day with our traders, knowing that I trade for a firm and I'm trading relatively decent size? Why do you think?
Well, because it reinforces things that, especially when you write them down, it's NLP. If you just have a thought in your head, it's not as potent as if you're writing it down. It imprints on you, right?
It's that and increases your commitment to your beliefs.
And you're accountable, and you're showing it to the public. It makes you accountable for your ideas.
Exactly. It makes it harder to deviate from your plan following it.
It really does. And you guys are 100% correct. Look, there are times, and the guys know this, where I have to bow out early. I'm going through the analysis process and things start moving, and I've got to start managing my positions. I'll take a position and, I know where my risk is and I know what I'm looking for to get out of a trade. My risk reward is all relevant, but there are a lot of times that the markets move sporadically and, sometimes against my will, whether it was due to some sort of tweet or news event or some sort of headline. What's that?
Tape bombs.
Yeah, tape bomb. Look, I have Bloomberg on my computer that you guys are, viewing right now. This is one of many screens that you see, but this is like my Bloomberg headline. And sometimes these red headlines come across, and when they do, they hit the market. It's like, holy cow, the market just starts moving. And a lot of times I'll be trading. I'm like, guys, hey, can you take over? I'm typing on Skype, hey, take over the screen. I got to go. But for the most part, I'm doing this analysis in the morning before the equity markets open in North America. So, it's, I don't want to say it's a slow period because it's a crossover between European and North American markets, but it is a time where usually the European traders are taking a little bit of their profits or losses off the table ahead of the North American session starting. So when we start in the morning, which is 8:30 in the morning, is it 8 o'clock Eastern? So I'm trying to think of the times in my head. Because it's 5 in the morning for me. At 8 o'clock in the morning Eastern, that by that time, all the North American traders are already in front of their computer, and they're starting to, they're starting to position themselves for the day. European traders are taking positions off the table and whatnot. So for me, it's really important to do this analysis process every day, because what I found, and I've done it, if I don't have a process as a trader, if I don't have a process and I'm not held accountable, I suffer monetarily the consequences of that. So by doing the analysis for you or the viewers, it allows me to say, okay, look, I know that the euro dollar at 117 is a big resistance level. I know it's a level that's going to influence what I'm doing. And so I need to adhere to that. And so throughout the course of the day and throughout the course of the afternoon, I'm constantly looking at, especially as we approach it, I might be looking at that 117 level in the euro, because I know it's key resistance. And then I know that as we approach 116, it's really important support because I already wrote it down. And like right now, we're trading at 116.17. Granted, it's a Friday. You're not going to catch me trying to short the euro right now, even if it was a Thursday or even if it was a Monday. I probably wouldn't be shorting the euro because I know it's so close to support. Or if I did, I'd be very careful knowing that support is so close to it. So knowing, excuse me, knowing where these important levels are in the market is very important to me and for all of our traders. I know.
How about this, Blake? Don't try and make your week on a Friday. How about that?
Yeah, true. Yeah, I want to say the last Trader Summit event that we did, Steve. I want to say you did it during the week, and I was like, yeah, I'm like, no.
Yes, but to be honest, circumstances were very special because it was the period that most of the countries of the world were in lockdown. So we knew that people are actually there.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And you're right. We did the last or our initial Trader Summit event during the COVID lockdown, right when it started. So you're correct. So let me kind of, and for those of you that follow me on Twitter, I always like to say this: if you're on Twitter, you probably get about 5% of what I'm thinking. Okay. If you come to the Face webinar, you probably get about another 20-25% of what I'm thinking. But the rest of the time, and to get most of my thoughts and my ideas, that's where Forex Analytix really comes into play. And so let me take a moment and talk to you guys about Forex Analytix. Remember, we are one of the organizers for Forex for the Traders Summit. I needed to talk a little bit about Forex Analytix and about what we do, but what I really wanted to do is tell you why we created it and what was happening at that moment. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I knew that MB Trading was being sold to Ally Financial, and I happen to know the owner of MB Trading and worked with them obviously for many years. And I said, look, Steve, I don't want to really be part of Ally Financial. It's a big organization. I'm better suited for a smaller organization. I don't really want to be this cog in this big, machine. And he's like, I get it. I'm like, look, I'd like to create something on my own, but and I told him what I wanted to do, and he's like, well, they mostly deal in equities, so I'll just make sure it's not a conflict of interest. And so I started this idea of Forex Analytix, and I met with my partners, Steve and Stelios, which you see here in Greece, and I started down this path, and then at the same time I met the group that I trade for right around the same time. But I already started down the path of building Forex Analytix, and the reason why I wanted to build it is to build a community for the traders that I've met over the last previous 12, 15 years prior. I just wanted to build like a platform that was something that was affordable for every trader out there, because not one shoe fits every person. We have so many different types of traders that come from so many different backgrounds, so many people that have $5,000 accounts, so many people that have, $50,000 accounts, and they trade the markets differently, they approach it differently. So I wanted to make something that was affordable for everybody, but also a safe place for individual traders to go that were in the currency market predominantly to go to. And so here came Forex Analytix. And what it is basically, it's an analysis product that shows multiple types of analysis. Let me move this out of the way. Multiple types of analysis: macro, candlestick, basic technical, harmonic, Elliott wave analysis for individual currency pairs, and 30 different instruments. We even cover some cryptocurrencies in here. And but what's really the backbone of Forex Analytix is, not just the technology, which you have an app, and you get notified when support and resistance levels are breached, and goes to your phone, and it's nice if you have, if you're on the move. As currency traders, we're in the markets 24 hours a day. But my kids' soccer practice or school, it doesn't matter that I'm a currency trader. That life happens. So I happen to be mobile. It's nice to be notified when I'm on the run, when something's moving. And it's not always easy doing analysis on a phone anyway. So being notified when things are moving is really important. So whenever we upload analysis, you can see in the live stream here, whenever we upload analysis, this analysis will get launched to your mobile phone, and you'll get the chart, you'll get the corresponding analysis when support and resistance levels are breached, so on and so forth. But what is really cool about our platform is not necessarily the platform itself, which is, I think it's nice, but what's really great is our community. And this is the Forex Analytix chat room. And you guys are all on Jumbotron, for those of you that are in there right now. And you'll see we have currently 64 of us online. You can see we chat and talk all day long in this community. You can see all of the different charts that we're posting throughout the course of the day, and what charts and the corresponding analysis. And this is a place that, my wife likes to say I spend more time with my traders than I do with our own family, but it's kind of true because I'm in here all day long. And you can see people are listening in right now, and they're to this event. And they're in the chat room as well. But that's really, in my opinion, probably where the value lies in Forex Analytix, is our community. And so I wanted to explain that to you guys, kind of the backstory of how Forex Analytix came to be. And it's grown a life of its own, if you will. We have a great team. We have a great community of traders. And and I have to tip my hat to all the guys and gals that are associated with Forex Analytix, and now the Traders Summit as well. So so thank you all, especially my partners that are listening in right now. But what's great is having a place where I do the analysis for Forex Analytix for a lot of the analysis that you'll see on the platform, but I am mature enough as a trader, being that I've been trading since 1996 is when I actually started trading. I started in the business a couple years prior to that as a stockbroker. stockbrokers actually don't even exist now. I think they're called wealth managers now. But when I started in the business or as a trader, I probably was a little bit more, well, I was obviously a lot younger at the time, but I've matured enough over the years to really respect what other traders are sharing and doing, because we all have different viewpoints in the marketplace, and we all have different, there are different things that I'll see that maybe somebody won't see, or they'll see that I wasn't even looking at. And that's the value of having a community, especially when you do this full time, when you trade full time. It's having a community where you can go, hey, this is what I'm looking at this in the dollar Mexican peso right now, and it's ripped up past its 200-day moving average. How are you guys feeling about the dollar Mexican peso at this time? And to getting other people's opinions about it, and they might see something that I'm just not seeing. So that in essence, I feel is probably the most beneficial part of Forex Analytics. So again, I just want to reiterate what I do is I go through, the process, going back to the charts. I go through all of the different indices. I go through, some of the major currencies, knowing how they move, why they're moving. And as a trader, I say this all the time, but I'm, this is kind of how it is as a trader. I feel like every day when I get up, I've got a puzzle, a big jigsaw puzzle in front of me with all the pieces laid out, and I've got to put all the pieces together every morning, see how it all fits, and try to make a decision based on the information that has been laid out for me, or all the puzzle pieces that I have. And that's what going through this process, the analysis process, and looking at all of I try to look at every asset class, for the most part, if it's moving anyway, and understand the reasons why it's moving, and then how does that translate to the currency market, and how am I going to capitalize on that for the day. And you know what, Dale and everybody else that's here right now, there isn't a trade always developing every day, and some days are quieter than others, but some days sure are busier than others. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, less is more, in my opinion, Blake.
I'm sorry?
Less is more, in my opinion.
Yeah,
as far as trading, I'm happy to find a couple good ones a week.
Yeah, and that's so I'm glad you brought up this topic, and then I'm going to switch gears over to Trader Summit and talk a little bit about Trader Summit as well, and where it's evolving and how it's going. One of the things that we focus on our daily face webinars is really focusing on obviously the charts and why things are moving, but where they could go and where potential turning points are going to be. And so for me as a trader is always identifying what's the best risk versus reward. And it isn't always clear. As you pointed out, there's a couple good opportunities a week. I would probably agree with you. There's a couple of great opportunities every single week, or a couple really stellar ones throughout the course of the month that you can really take advantage of. And those are the ones that I look at trading as, where do I step into the market and where do I aggressively step into the market based on probabilities and risk versus reward, because you don't always have the best risk reward setup. Like I could sit there and say, the euro, in my opinion, is going down to 115, but that doesn't mean that if, I think the euro, and by the way, if I'm looking at the euro dollar, just so you guys know why I do think it's going down to 115, is because I think it's going down this 38% retracement longer term. Let me move this fib level here. You can see this is a more of an intermediate fib, which is a 618 retracement, okay? And the longer term Fibonacci's come in around the 38% retracement. I also know as a breakout point, so I've got like triple confluence there. So in my view, I think the euro dollar is going to drop, get down to 115. You might ask me, well, Blake, am I going to be a buyer down at 115? And my answer is going to be it depends, because it depends what's happening on more of a macro environment and what, you know, other asset classes are doing at that moment. But for right now, I think it's going to 115. So the next question that I'm always asking myself is, well, do I just short it right now? You know, that's where every day I'll look at my bias, my opinion, and I'll say, okay, it's moving lower, but where's going to be the best and most opportune from a risk reward standpoint place for me to get short the euro? And like I've been saying the last 2 days, hey, if you can get any move back up to 117, you know, and you're still looking at my charts here. So you know, if you get a move back up to 117, that's going to be a good opportunity to be on the short side of the euro dollar. Just like last night, the analysis says on Forex Analytix, the euro dollar should find sellers at the 117 level, the support near 116.50. So last night,
You know, Blake, when you're on this, while you're on that page,
Yeah.
you know, I love the community that we have. I'm a big believer in communities. But I think one thing that is different about us is that if you wanted to find Elliott wave analysis, you'd probably subscribe to a guy who that's his methodology. And then if you wanted harmonics, you'd probably have another subscription to someone who specializes in harmonics. And if you were conventional or candlestick, what we have done is we've brought all these different methodologies together. And then you have this traffic light page that I have a lot of conviction when a few different methodologies are pointing towards the same outcome. And to be able to have at my fingertips Greg's work, Andre's work, the whole team's work that come from different disciplines, I think is an edge. And I just wanted to bring that up too.
no, and that's a great point. I mean, you know, this is the Elliott wave analysis from European trade today. And Greg was saying, you know, the C pivot on an Elliott wave analysis is going to be at 116.20. Do you know what the low is right now in the euro? 116.12. We basically completed his pattern, and he thinks
Clean it up, Greg.
But if you think about that for a moment, and you're like, okay, well, Blake's targeting 116 intraday, you know, and then I have the Elliott wave analysis points to 116.20, you know, maybe even a little bit lower. He has it a little bit lower than that. Wave 4 completes just probably at 116. Then that's telling you, for me, it would be telling me, hey, I don't think I really want to be short the euro down here. If I know that support is going to be around 116, and I have Elliott waves completing at those levels, and that's like this is where the power of multiple types of analysis really comes into play.
Yeah.
And hopefully you guys can take advantage of that. And
yeah,
and
it's not just Elliott wave; it's Greg Horvat, who, when I was on FX Street, won an award every year. That's how I got to know him, because I had to interview the FX Street award winners.
Correct, and you can you know, learn about all of our team here. We've hand selected obviously these folks that are associated with us, which is, you know, it's been wonderful. So for those of you guys that want to take advantage of it, let me just again, as one of the main sponsors of Traders Summit, we do have a seasonal offer, and a seasonal offer, we only offer this a couple times a year. It is coinciding with the Traders Summit. We started offering it a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to take advantage of our seasonal offer, it's the best pricing you're going to find throughout the course of the year. So make sure you do so. Now, let me stop 1 minute before we got about 10 minutes before we're going to take our first break and get ready for Danielle DiMartino Booth, which I'm excited to interview, by the way. The reason why I'm so excited to interview her is because, I feel like I wish I would have found her like years ago. She's a wealth of knowledge, and, you know, being able to talk to somebody who's been inside the Fed is, I think, extremely valuable. So the questions that I have are going to be, you know, very relevant for what's happening in today's market. And it's going to be really great to get her viewpoint. But we got about 10 minutes before we do that. But I want to talk a little bit about the Traders Summit and the rest of the conference that's happening this weekend and what's to come. Traders Summit has really grown more of a life of its own as well. And one of the things about the Traders Summit that you will realize in the next few weeks is this is just the beginning. We will have a destination for all of you, a place for you guys to go to get analysis, opinions about not just currency markets. I think currency markets will be a smaller subset of the entire market. And we're going to have contributors from all over the globe, from that are professionals in the field that Dale has interviewed and we have interviewed as a company for many, many years. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces on the Traders Summit as sharing ideas each and every day. It's not going to be just every few months. We're going to have a daily, every day you're going to see constant analysis, and it's all going to be free for you guys. So it's really exciting that Traders Summit is developing to that, because as you've seen this weekend, the lineup of speakers that you see here, like I said, is just the beginning. And we have a lot of different traders and investors and professionals in the community that will be offering up their opinions. And it'll be a place for everybody to go and visit and see different outlooks and understand different outlooks about the market. Steve, Stelios, would you like to mention anything more about the Traders Summit as I'm mentioning it right now?
The only, I think you covered everything. The only addition is that it's also going to have a lot of video content, be it either some of the people recording a short video about an opinion instead of just writing an article, and short, up to the point, like 5-10 minute interviews. So
Right.
it's going to be very easy to track and to follow. It's not going to be long interviews that you need to plan for the week ahead, someday to watch them. As I said, up to the point. Something happened. We had a Fed announcement. A couple of people are going to answer 2-3 questions and post them online.
Right. So
Actionable analysis.
Yes, and up to the point.
And Dale, I'm glad you bring that up. One of the things that we do every day is, especially with our FACE webinars, that obviously we don't do them all day long. It's an hour and a half every morning. We try to bring you guys actionable ideas, like what we're talking about. What's happening in currencies and what's happening in the S&P, and where's a good pivot point? Where's an area that it might find some support or resistance based off this type of analysis, and why? And having that type of analysis in individual stocks, having it in different marketplace, different markets, different indices, whether it's precious metals, or you're looking at the 10-year and you're looking at the yield curve, having that type of analysis throughout the course of the day and having it refreshed constantly, I think is going to be very valuable to the individual trader. So guys, I just want to wrap up with saying that I'm really excited for this week, and I appreciate you all listening in and kind of understanding, the beginnings of Forex Analytix, but also understanding where Traders Summit is going in the future. And I'm really excited about all of these different interviews and presentations you're going to have for the next couple of days. And remember, if you have to step away and you're not around for one interview, we're going to have recordings, right, Steve?
Absolutely right. And we're going to edit them, upload them as fast as possible, and we're going to mail every person that has registered so they know exactly where to find them and when.
Very good. And those people that were at the last Traders Summit know that it was a really successful event. It was at the beginning of COVID during the lockdown, but being able to go back and watch some of those interviews and some of the important points that people have made, it's extremely valuable, and you can feel good about knowing that if you do miss one, you're going to be able to visit those recordings. So let me ask you guys this: what are you most looking forward to over the next 3 days, personally?
Well, me,
Let's start with Stelios.
yeah, why not?
The youngest.
I think I've told you guys before, when I first, I was a computer scientist, I changed career, I became a market maker in interest rates derivatives. And the first books that my boss on day one gave me to read was one about bonds and futures, whatever. The other one was Market Wizards. So I really, really want to hear Jack Schwager and Peter Schiff. I mean, everybody's amazing, but Jack Schwager I have a soft spot for, I must say.
That's gonna be the number one for you, huh? Awesome. How about you, Steve?
I have a lot of interviews I'm looking forward to, but I can't lie. I'm really looking forward to the debate. I think it's going to be explosive.
Yeah, I would have to agree. The having this panel, excuse me, we have, and I know our team worked really hard to try to get different viewpoints. It's one thing that if you have a debate panel and you got everybody going, oh yeah, I'm bullish gold. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. But having different opinions and knowing that their opinions not only on certain asset classes, but monetary policy might completely be on two different ends of the spectrum. It's going to be a wonderful debate to watch tomorrow.
Yes. And there are several points of contention. I think all of them will be interesting to see, because we know that several of the people there have different opinions for several asset classes, but not only that, some fundamental differences as well, where they think the economy is headed, where they think monetary policy is headed, if they think it's good or bad. So I think, especially having Abigail doing the moderating. She's, for those that don't know, Abigail Doolittle, she's a Bloomberg hostess, actually, yes. So I think we're going to get the best out of it.
And by the way, before she was with Bloomberg, I mean, she was on Twitter. She's the Chartress, and I think we followed each other probably for 6, 7, 8 years or so. I've never talked to her one-on-one. I know Joe from our team, Joe Perry, he especially pre-COVID, he used to go into the Bloomberg studios and film the charting futures, her show. And I know he's had an opportunity to meet her a lot, or many different occasions, which is cool. But I'm excited to hear, because she has an opinion. She's just not a moderator. She has an opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
She
Dale,
has been on a trading floor. She does know.
How about you, Dale? What are you looking forward to?
Well, you know what? I think the biggest thing for me is going to be after the event and hearing from the attendees and viewers of what they learned. That's a key, is that maybe there was one idea, just like, Blake, I've talked to people that you've mentored and your teachings, they'll come out and say it was life-changing. So I'm looking for the life-changing moments for traders here this weekend, something they didn't know that their eyes are open to that could change things for the better for them.
Well said. Okay, so for me, let me tell you, for me, I'm looking forward to it all. But there's one guy that I just recently started following because of this event, and I didn't know he even existed. And then I'm like, oh, I've seen him on other forums, and then I'm like, oh, I put 2 and 2 together. Is Michael Guyad? He's one of our sponsors for Toroso Investments. So he's an active manager, which is cool.
I've interviewed Michael before.
Yeah, I've never, for me, when you do your interviews, I try to catch him after the fact, but usually I roll off to go trade for the day. So I miss a lot of your interviews, and I know you've interviewed him, and I just started following him on Twitter, a few weeks ago. And then I really started to focus in on his ideas and what he's sharing. And I'm like, man, this guy's brilliant. I actually can't wait to hear what he has to say about the market. So that for me is like something that's kind of new and exciting for me.
It's like a rock concert, Blake.
It is.
It's like Woodstock of FX. That's what we have going here. All right.
Well, speaking of which, I'm gonna make sure that everybody gets a restroom break before our interview with Daniel DiMartino Booth. I'm super excited to actually interview her, and that's going to come up in just a few minutes. Steve, did you want to take over the screen to put everybody on break, or how do you want to do that?
Absolutely, mate. Unless, of course, Stelios and Dale want to cover something. So
I just wanted to say one last thing, and that was from a question from our friend Alexander. He said, Blake, do you actually look at others' analysis before you trade? And I want to say that this is something I do. I'm a macro trader, and I always, because I'm known to be early in trading, I always look at what you say, what Gregor says. I try to find the best entry and exit positions or levels based on your analysis. So I learn every day from being together with people like that. So,
you know, that's a great answer. And I'm gonna leave it with this because I think it's such a great question. I actually look at what other people have to say if I know who they are and I respect their analysis. So I follow a few people on Twitter. I don't follow everybody. And I usually follow people if somebody says, hey, follow this guy because he has good analysis, usually one of the guys from that are on my trading floor, I will. But I usually, after a while, I can kind of figure out how this person approaches the market. And if I know their approach to a certain extent and I respect their analysis, I'll look at it and I take that into a consideration. And hopefully it's showing me something that I didn't see. And I don't seek out confirmation from my own trades. I usually am looking for what could go wrong with the trade that I'm seeing right now. You know, who's seeing opposite of what I'm seeing and why? That's for me the most important thing, because I plan my trade and then work my plan. You know, plan my trade, trade my plan. That's the way I like to approach the market. But there are going to be things wrong with what I'm doing, and there's going to be things that could derail what I'm trying to accomplish in the market and the trade I'm trying to make. So I'll take in, like, I know a lot of people look at my analysis and they're like, a lot of them probably trade counter to the way I trade. I might say there's big support here, so be careful being short. They might go, hey, Blake's not wanting to be short here. I might look for a long to go counter that. You know, and I know there's people that do that because there's two sides of the market. I'm usually better on trading my bias in one direction. I'm not good at trading in both directions. I learned that about myself many, many years ago. So anyway, that was a great question though. All right, well, guys, I'm going to step out for just a couple minutes and then I'll let you guys take over. I'll see you in about 3 minutes with Daniel DiMartino Booth.